following our chemistry class. You are following, right? Yeah, good. Now we have completed our second unit. What is our second unit? Physical changes and chemical changes. Today we can have a revision on our unit 2. What we have learned in our first class in unit 2? Yeah, about changes and some types of changes. What is a change? Changes transforming from one substance to another substance is called change. What are the types of changes you have learned? Can you remember? The first one is natural and man-made change. Natural changes occur by nature. That is growth of a plant. We are not doing anything. It is growing by some natural resources. By using some natural resources. And the growth of human being, etc. Man-made changes that man do. Example, shaping that grass into different shapes, animals, etc. We can see in parks, that is man-made change. Next one is slow and fast change. Slow change example. Slow change, what is slow change? It takes time to transform from one state to other state. That is the change which takes time is called slow change. Example, rusting of iron. Rusting of iron takes years, right? Then it is fast change. What is fast change? It occurs within a small span of time. Example, yeah, burning of paper. Next one is periodic and non-periodic change. Periodic change means it repeats within a regular interval. Example, sunset and sunrise. Today morning it occurs and it repeats within particular interval. Then tomorrow morning, day after tomorrow morning, like that it is repeating within a particular interval. It is called periodic change. Non-periodic change, it will not occur within particular intervals. That is example, volcano eruption. Do you know all what is volcano eruption? Yes, eruption of volcanoes into fire, right? That will not happen within a periodic interval. That will happen, but we don't know when it will happen. So it is non-periodic change. Next one is desirable and undesirable change. What is desirable change? The change which is useful to human beings is called desirable change. The change which is not useful to human beings is called undesirable change. Desirable change example, yes, ripening of a fruit. When a fruit ripens and it is sweet to eat, it is desirable change. Undesirable change, when we make a fruit to get into a sweet fruit, unfortunately if it spoils, we don't like, right? It is not useful for us. So it is undesirable change. Next one is reversible and irreversible change. What is reversible? When a change occurs, the reactants gives products. In some changes, we can take that reactant from the product. For example, you take an ice piece, you melt it, it will change into water. And again, if you keep it in the freezer, it will change back into ice. So it is reversible change. Irreversible means it cannot be changed into the initial reactant after it is changing into a product. That is, consider an egg, you are making omelette with the egg. After making an omelette, it cannot be changed into egg. So it is irreversible change. Last one is exothermic and endothermic change. What is exothermic? A change in which the heat energy is evolved is called exothermic. For example, burning of a candle. While we burn a candle, the heat we are getting, right? Heat is coming out. Heat is evolved out. It is called exothermic change. Endothermic change. What is endothermic? When this process absorbs heat, it is called endothermic. it is endothermic. Did you understand? Now we can see about important one, physical and chemical change with some examples.
And chemical changes. Look at these leaves. The first leaf is fresh and green, while the other is dry and brown. Can we make the dry leaf fresh again? Well, we cannot do so, and that is because the leaves have undergone a chemical change that cannot be reversed. All the changes that take place in our surroundings are either physical or chemical changes. Let us learn more about these changes. When water is frozen, it forms ice. However, ice and water are made up of the same type of substance, that is, water molecules. This means that freezing just changed the physical form of water from liquid to solid, but the molecules inside remain the same. Such a change, where only the physical properties of the substance change and no new substance is formed, is called a physical change. The formation of ice can be easily reversed by heating the ice to form water. Most physical changes can be reversed. Melting of an ice cream, chopping of wood, bending of a wire, breaking of a glass, and breaking of a pencil are physical changes. Now look at this log of wood. Even after being cut from the tree, the wood remained same. But what happens when this log of wood is set to fire? Upon burning, the wood changes into ash. Ash is a new substance which has different chemical properties than wood, and it cannot be changed back into wood again. Such a change, where the chemical properties of the substance change and a new substance is formed, is called a chemical change. Chemical changes are mostly irreversible. Burning of paper, rusting of iron, cooking of rice, curdling of milk, and ripening of fruits are chemical changes. So now you know all about physical and chemical changes.
I hope you all understood about the types of changes. Our next topic is physical changes. Did you understand what is physical change? The chemical composition of the substance will not vary. Only the physical properties like size, color varies. Now we can see about some physical changes. First one is evaporation. Can you remember what is evaporation? Changing liquid to gas is called evaporation. Changing a substance, that is from liquid state to gaseous state, is called evaporation. Evaporation is depending on some of the factors, that is temperature. Consider the same example, the drying of clothes. The temperature, while the temperature increases, the evaporation increases. While the moisture content increases, the evaporation decreases. While the dress is too wet, so much of water, large quantity of water is there in the cloth, it will dry very slowly, right? So moisture content increases, evaporation decreases. Next one is area. Can you remember? While we spread the cloth fully, it will dry fastly, right? As we increase the surface area, the evaporation increases. Last one is air. While the air passing through the cloth increases, the evaporation increases. Can you understand what is evaporation? Now come to boiling. Boiling is just heating, right? Consider a bowl of water, you are heating it. The temperature of that water will increase little. Then when it attain a particular temperature, it will start giving evaporate. That is, it will change into gaseous state. We can see the evaporated gases from the water, not from the beginning. Only when it attains a particular temperature, that is called boiling point of the liquid. Which liquid you are heating? Its boiling point. If you heat water, boiling point of the water. When it attains that particular temperature, the liquid will change into gas. That is called boiling. Boiling is changing liquid state to gaseous state. Next one is condensation. Condensation is changing gaseous state into liquid state. Consider the example clouds. Clouds we are having in gaseous state, and rain we are absorbing, and we are getting rain in liquid form. This change of cloud to rain is called condensation. That is, changing gaseous state to liquid state is called condensation. Next one is freezing. We all know this, right? We are using freezers in our home. What is freezing? Changing liquid state to solid state. Changing water to ice pieces is called freezing. Next one is melting. What is melting? It is opposite of freezing. Changing solid to liquid is called melting. That is, changing ice pieces into water is called melting. Did you understand? If you won't form liquid, we will change solid to gas. Example, when we burn naphthalene, it will change into gas, right? While we burn naphthalene, it is changing. Naphthalene is in solid form. It changes directly to gaseous state. That is sublimation. Can you remember this example? Sublimation of ammonium chloride. Have to take a china dish. In that, we have to take ammonium chloride powder. Then we have to keep a funnel above that. We have to close this funnel with cotton cloth. Then we have to burn. We have to apply heat to this. This ammonium chloride powder changes into gas. You can see a white fumes from this ammonium chloride powder, and it deposits here as crystal due to desublimation. Here sublimation occurs. Here we are heating. Due to some desublimation process, here it will deposit as ammonium chloride crystals. This is called sublimation. This is an example of sublimation. That is, sublimation of ammonium chloride powder. Now the next one is dissolving. What is the meaning of dissolving? Yes, the dissolving, the output should be a solution. We can take solid or liquid or gas, any state. We have to mix that, and the output should be a solution. For example, consider water and sugar. While we mix both, we will get sugar solution. That is, mixing solid, gas or liquid to form solution is called dissolving. Now these are all the physical changes we have learned. Evaporation, boiling, condensation, freezing, melting, sublimation and dissolving. I hope you all understood about the physical changes, right? Next one is chemical changes. Can you remember the chemical changes what we have learned in our last class? Only in the last class we have learned about chemical changes, right? In chemical changes, the chemical composition of the substance undergoing the change will vary after the change. Now we can see about some of the chemical changes. Yes, first one is cooking. What is cooking? We all know, right? Cooking. Our mother cooks every day. Cooking is, what is cooking? Yes, making a raw food that we are making it to eat. It should be changed in a form that we have to eat. That is, changing a substance desirable for eating is called cooking. For example, anything you can take. While making sambar, we used to cut the vegetables. We used to cook or or apply heat for this that vegetables to cook and apply masalas etc. and sambar will get ready. Cooking, can we change the cooked vegetables into raw vegetables? No, it is a irreversible chemical change. Then heat is absorbed or evolved? Yes, it absorbs heat to cook, so it is endothermic. Then it is desirable or undesirable? It is desirable, it is useful for us and it is desirable. Next one is digestion. Breaking down of food materials into small pieces and giving to our body for energy. That is called digestion. Digestion, while we eat a food, it is breaking down into small pieces. And after the breakdown, we cannot get that food back in that full form, right? So it is irreversible. It absorbs the heat from the body to process. That is for digestion. So it is endothermic and it is useful for us. It is desirable. The next one is combustion or burning. It is burning. Considered a burning of wax. It is desirable for us. Light, it is giving light, so it is desirable, it is useful for us. When the wax, once it burns out, we cannot change that full candle, right? So it is irreversible and it is giving out heat, so it is exothermic. Come to respiration. Respiration means we respire, right? We take in oxygen and give out carbon dioxide. Plants also respire. By doing so, we get some energy. While we inhale oxygen and give out carbon dioxide, the oxygen is getting supplied to all over the body and we are getting energy. The body is getting oxygen. The plants too, they are taking carbon dioxide and giving out oxygen. Some chemicals involved in that. That is oxygen, carbon dioxide, etc. Right? That is respiration. Next, curdling. Curdling of milk. Can you remember? While we keep the milk simply in a place, we can get curd from that. There the chemical properties changes. The taste changes, right? The properties change from milk to curd. The chemical properties changes, so it is a chemical change. Curdling. Next one is fermentation. Fermentation is acting of microorganisms in a particular food or something. Fermentation we are using in making bread and all. The dough we are making using fermentation. That is fermentation. Next is rusting of iron. Rusting is, well, we consider iron, it is made of ferrous. When days pass on, this iron, ferrous, reacts with the moisture, that is water content in the air and oxygen present in the air, and it changes into ferrous oxide. It is called rusting. It is an example for slow change. Can you remember? Yeah. Now can you understand what is chemical change? Cooking, digestion, combustion, respiration, curdling of milk, fermentation and rusting. These are all the examples or some of the types of chemical changes. Did you understand the unit? Okay. I hope you all are clear in Unit 2 Physical and Chemical Changes. We can meet in the next class.